from Hit Squad, and welcome back, guys. Here's your boy Sean.
And your girl Mel.
Yes, guys. We are back with another video. Andre the Giant, most famous professional wrestler in the world.
Really? I've never heard of him.
So I do remember a little bit about Andre the Giant. I just know he was a giant. He was a huge guy. And so before we get into it, guys, go ahead and smash that like button, turn on all notifications. We're going to go ahead and dive into it. Let's see what we got. All right?
Yeah.
Here we go. First time.
Should be. Grown men feared him.
He got so mad, he reached down and grabbed the car, and he turned it upside down on the sidewalk with the 4 guys in it.
Little girls loved him.
What?
When he kissed you, you knew he was.
What the hell did he just say?
Wait a minute.
Hold on. Did he say 4 guys was in the car?
Reached down and flipped the car over with 4 guys in it? No freaking way.
What?
Giant. He could take up your whole face with his lips.
He grew and grew and grew to become the biggest attraction in professional wrestling.
Wow.
Or any other sport for that matter.
Andre the Giant was the most recognizable sports figure of the 20th century.
What?
Along with, of course, Muhammad Ali.
Oh my Lord!
Larger than life. Here we go.
In the spring of 1987, 92,000 people filled the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan to see Hulk Hogan wrestle Andre the Giant for the heavyweight championship. It was the largest audience ever assembled under one roof for a sporting event. Yet there were no sports writers present, since the media didn't consider wrestling to be a sport.
Wow.
Throughout a 20-year career, the Giant had never been defeated, but now he was past his prime and ailing. The crowd sensed an upset in the making. The Giant's best years, they knew, were behind him. But for Andre, the night had even deeper implications. He was 2 months past his 40th birthday, the age his doctors had said he would not live beyond.
Wow!
What?
Once upon a time, there lived a giant. Not at the top of a beanstalk, but in a small French village little more than an hour's drive from Paris. Moulins, France, is a farm community of fertile fields and glistening orchards, not so different from 100 other French villages that seem little changed since the Middle Ages. It was here on May 19, 1946, that André René Roussimoff, third child of 5 to Boris and Marianne Roussimoff, was born. Day-Day, as the boy was called, seen here at the age of 3, weighed 5 kilos at birth, nearly 11 pounds. His brothers and sisters were normal-sized,
At birth?
and aside from his bigger-than-average birth weight, Day-Day showed no sign that he would grow to be any larger than his siblings. Andre's father was Bulgarian. He emigrated to France before the war and found work as a farmer. One of his fellow workers, a Pole, showed Boris a photograph of his sister. Boris saved his money until he had enough to bring his friend's sister to France for a visit. They were married soon afterward. Andre's paternal grandfather is said to have been 7 feet 8 inches tall, but none of the family living today can confirm that. Young Andre was quiet but fun-loving. He was a good student, particularly in math. After school, he divided his time between soccer games and home chores. The Roussimoffs had little in the way of material things. The children were brought up with love and dignity and learned early to accept without complaint whatever may come.
J'ai eu des parents très sympas.
My parents were very cool. We had a lot of freedom. Of course, we had to work a lot because at that time we didn't have a lot of money. So on Thursdays with my brother, we had to cut wood to heat the house, and that was a good way to pass the time.
By the time he was 12 years old, Andre stood over 6 feet tall and weighed 240 pounds.
At 12?
I knew him from school. He was born in Orléans, like me, and we used to play in the playground together. He used to be the goalie, but the ball would never manage to get in the goal because he was so big. He would dive for the ball everywhere, and he would stop it every time.
At harvest time, the Roussimoff brothers worked beside their father as day labor in the fields. Andre opted to quit school after 8th grade. He felt he did not need a high school education to spend his life working on a farm that was not his own. Andrei Roussimoff dreamed often of a future that would take him far from the tedium and near poverty of farm life. But that dream seemed hopelessly out of reach. Andrei worked hard for 2 years to learn the trade before deciding at the end of his apprenticeship that woodworking was as unlikely as farm work to bring him success. It was also at the age of 16 that Andrei made another discovery. He was getting very big.
À partir de 16 ans, mon frère a commencé à grandir.
My brother really started to grow when he reached 16. Yeah, when he was 16. He was kind of a curiosity. Of course, everybody looked at him. They turned their heads as he passed.
Il s'est déplacé, quoi.
Wow, he's huge.
Andrei's parents were not worried about their boy's growth spurt. The teenager was just big, that's all. Andrei was not taken to see a doctor.
The teenager.
Andrei left his woodworking job and went to work in a factory that manufactured hay baling engines. But for the young dreamer, the monotony of the assembly line was worse even than the drudgery of farm labor. In near desperation and with a heavy heart, Andrei went back to work alongside his father. In the field, Andrei could perform the work of 3 men.
Wow.
He was very strong, that's for sure. We had a flat tire in the back, and we didn't have a jack, so I unscrewed all the lug nuts, except for one. Suddenly he lifted the car, and I would take the spare tire, and we wouldn't need a jack anymore. That's when we could tell he was strong.
Andrei was asked to join a local rugby organization, but he declined as he didn't care for the sport. As he grew larger, Andrei began to attract attention.
I have a very clear memory of Andrei driving by the Place de la Guerre with a 4 chevaux, an old clunker 4 chevaux. He would drive normally, but with his head coming out of the roof. These things were kind of funny.
Quand il descendait de la voiture, il faisait celui qui.
When he got out of the car, he used to pretend that he was stuck between the door and inside the car. He used to pick it up by lifting his body. We used to drive this car without any insurance. The cops never said anything. They never dared to tell him a thing.
By the time he was 18, Andrei's fame had spread all the way to Paris. A wrestling promoter turned up at the Roussimoffs' door one day. Andrei, the promoter told the Roussimoffs, could make a very nice living as a wrestling attraction.
A promoter phoned me one day. He said, go and pick this young lad up, 17, a wrestler who is just beginning. He said, and take him to a town, I forget the town where it was, and I think it was Porte de Versailles, just outside Paris. I was living.
That was the name of it.
Yes.
The bar was supposed to make 2.
I think it was. So I went there,
and
here was this young lad of 17. But in fact, he was about 6'10" and weighed about 280 pounds and dwarfed me then. Little did I ever realize he would grow almost another foot.
Andrei's parents had mixed feelings about their son's becoming a wrestler, but they saw it as his ticket, perhaps, to a better life. Andrei's heart leapt at the opportunity. Maybe he would get a chance at his dream after all. Andrei Roussimoff was 7 feet tall on the day he left for Paris, an 18-year-old in search of his fortune. During the day, Andrei worked as a mover to pay his expenses in Paris. At night, he trained in a wrestling gym. It was slow going. His size and strength were tremendous assets, but he knew nothing of wrestling technique. The basic moves and falls every wrestler knows. And it was difficult for him to learn because his fellow wrestlers were afraid to train with him. Wrestling then, as now, was 90% performance, 10% competition. Promoters had long ago realized that fans were quickly bored with real or Olympic-style wrestling. Pro wrestling offered not really sport, but rather sports entertainment and the illusion of violence. But entertainment or not, the wrestlers of Paris were not eager to create the illusion of violence with a teenage giant who didn't know his own strength. On a trip back home in 1965, Andrei received a draft notice for France's peacetime army. He was called in for his physical examination.
The day of the military physical examinations, he was supposed to go into the army, and the surgeon that was recruiting guys saw him come from far away with another person. And talking about the other person, thinking that he was very short, The surgeon said, "That dwarf is never going to pass the test for the army. He's going to be rejected automatically." But as they were coming closer, he looked at Andre and said, "Well, maybe this is the one that will be rejected."
Andre was deemed unfit for service as there were no shoes big enough, bunks long enough, or trenches deep enough to accommodate him. Rejection was nothing new to Andre. Wherever he went, people stared or snickered. As he returned to Paris, his dreams of success in their world seemed more distant than ever. Then, one day in 1964, his luck began to change. Edward Carpentier, a popular French-Canadian wrestler, came to Paris. Andre approached Carpentier and asked the veteran to train him for the ring. Carpentier saw Andre's potential immediately and agreed to teach him. During the next 2 months, Andre learned how to give and take what wrestlers refer to as bumps. Before Carpentier returned to Montreal, he told Andre to get as much ring experience as he could. When he was ready, Carpentier would bring him to North America, where wrestling was much bigger than in Europe. One night in Paris, not long afterward, Andre went in as a replacement for an injured wrestler. The crowd loved him. Andre was very happy because he understood at once that he had found his calling. Fate had had a reason for making him so big. His destiny was to entertain the people. He would be a wrestler.
All right.
Wow.
All right, Andre.
Young Andre Roussimoff dreamed of someday leaving the farm and seeing the world. His opportunity came in Paris in 1964 when Edward Carpentier agreed to train the 18-year-old boy for the ring. Andre was an instant sensation with the fans.
Andre was unbelievable as a young man, 16, 17, 18. He had, I guess he was almost 7 foot by then. And he had like movie star, handsome, good looks, washboard stomach. I mean, when he walked the midway, he was the man.
Andre's stature was even more remarkable because, unlike other very tall men, he was not lanky like a basketball player. His legs were actually rather short for his frame. His proportions were relative to that of a man of average height.
Two things you could never forget about Andre when you saw him. One was just his enormous mass. He was big all over. The other thing was, if you actually had the chance to shake hands with Andre the Giant, it was something you would never forget, because it was literally impossible to shake hands with him. His hand was just so huge, your hand would be just like a small child's next to his.
Like two hands.
I ain't make two of me. I have big hands for an ordinary fellow, but his hands would be about like that, you know, and longer fingers. He looked like bananas, his fingers. Pretty big feet. He could have made a fortune stomping on fire.
You're going to ask for a better person. Gentle. You shake your hand, you didn't even know you had it. They were so big, you know what I mean? And you grab your hand. It was almost scary because you see them big paw coming at you, you know, and then you just, a real gentleman. I mean, easy going, never, always in the same mood, morning or night, you know.
The promoters billed Andre as Géant Ferré, the name of a legendary French lumberjack. Performance or not, wrestling was a rough contact sport, and the giant, Géant Ferré, soon became the most feared man in wrestling.
Il a été vite connu, il a s'entraîné quand il a fait ses premiers.
He was famous because his first fights took place around here, quite a lot actually. News got spread pretty quickly, and he quickly became famous. He was working during the week, and he was wrestling in the evenings and almost every Sunday.
For the next few years, Andre traveled throughout Europe and Africa, wrestling in arenas as well as carnivals. Most of his matches were performances, but occasionally he would take challengers from the audience, singly or in groups, taking on all comers. The only way you could beat the giant was if he allowed you to.
On any given night, no one could beat Andre. Andre's strength was immeasurable. He didn't even know how strong he was. I've seen him do some awesome things inside the ring, especially if he got angry, got the adrenaline flowing. And if he didn't like you, you paid the price. Those chops were brutal.
By the time he was 21, the poor farm boy from Moulins was living a dream. He was well paid, he traveled, ate and drank in the best restaurants. He was the center of attention everywhere he went. Family and friends traveled to Paris for Andre's matches, or they watched on television.
I saw him wrestle in France at the Palais de la Mutualité on a Saturday night. It was a 2-round match. It was very impressive, especially when there was such a weight falling on the floor. It echoed. I think he was hurt. I felt as hurt as him, especially when the opponent would pull his hair. He had a mane and the opponent would pull it to throw him off balance. But he was never really nasty as far as the fight. Otherwise, he would have crushed him from the first hit. I just think he was trying to make the fight last, to make the people happy that had come to see the show so it would last a little more. Otherwise, the fight would have been very short.
Andre's visits home were always an eagerly anticipated occasion.
He lived in a little town, Molienne. They put a sign up, population was 27, and it was 30 if Andre came home.
Well, of course, it was an event when he was coming back in the village to see his friends. When we saw the car, we knew right away that the big one was here, as we used to call him.
Whenever Andre came home, he'd spend hours playing cards with his friends.
His card friends are people that knew him since he was a little kid, because they are people that always lived in the village. One was a cement laird, the one that used to fix my mother's house. The other was a mechanic, and the other one was a small cultivator. They knew us all. They knew all the family, and they remained very good friends.
We used to play here all the time. That was his seat. Sometimes he would lose, but it didn't matter. Losing or winning, he would always pay. He never wanted us to pay. He used to say, "Jerry," and Jerry would serve.
By 1969, Edward Carpentier believed Andre was ready for the American market. But now it was Carpentier who would have to wait. Andre had signed a contract to wrestle in Japan under the name Monster Roussimoff. The Monster was the biggest thing to hit Japan since Godzilla.
We come out of the hotel, walk down the street, and they'd all run away, you know, they're smaller, and they run away from him, but they'd walk on the other side of the street, and they'd just follow him wherever we went, just mobs following around, just looking at him. Sometimes we'd duck in the store, and then the whole store would fill up.
I love the Japanese people, they're so small, and they can believe it to see a big person like myself. And they want to feed me all the time. They feed me like 26 hours a day. You can believe it.
In Japan, Andre was examined for the first time by a prominent doctor. He diagnosed Andre as having a rare glandular disorder called acromegaly, or giantism, a condition that causes a constant secretion of growth hormone. Andre's body could not stop growing.
He had that disease that all these giants supposedly have. His head was getting larger every year. He could notice it, you know, because we went back there several times. And he told me that these kind of disease that he had, guys are lucky if they make their 40s. But Andre, try to tell Andre to go have an, you know, go down and see this guy. He said, this guy doesn't know anything.
Andre refused to accept the doctor's diagnosis, and he never mentioned it to anyone in his family.
He knew, you know, that he didn't have long to live. So I think that was in the back of his mind, you know, all the time. That's why he drank and just did whatever he wanted to do, just to enjoy what time he had.
Andre's unique physical condition had brought him far from his humble origins and close to the realization of all his dreams. But now he was finding that success came with a hefty price tag.
I think that Andre was lonely, because I think that's the reason why he drank like he did, or he went night clubbing like he did. Didn't want to be by himself. When you're big as he was, people look at you like a freak and everything, and you resent that eventually. And I'm sure he did, because man had feelings just like you or I.
Every day of Andre's life had involved a painful effort to shoehorn himself into an undersized world. And now the final, most bitter irony, to be told at the age of 22 that he had already lived half his life.
Wow, man.
When his Japan tour was complete, Andre traveled to Montreal. As Edward Carpentier had predicted, the Giant was an immediate hit with Canadian fans.
Andre at the time was like, what, maybe 24 years old probably and all that. I mean, he was very, impressive, you know. I mean, he's so big and huge, you know, and all that. And he was not 500 pounds then. He must have been about like 375, you know. And he really looked good.
But the novelty soon wore off when the promoters couldn't find a plausible opponent for him. It was obvious to the fans that Andre couldn't be beaten. Gate receipts for his matches dwindled. Out of desperation, Carpentier consulted Vince McMahon and his son Vince Jr., a pair of successful American wrestling promoters. The McMahons saw problems with the way Andre was being presented to the fans.
After you see a giant over and over and over, it's almost, well, you can become accustomed to, to seeing a giant. That's not good.
The McMahons proposed a schedule where Andre would stay perpetually on the road.
Andre would just literally travel all over the world, never wearing out his welcome in any one area. And when he came once a year, you really look forward to seeing Andre.
The McMahons also knew that the name Géant Ferré, the French lumberjack, meant little to North American fans. Henceforth, Andre would be billed simply and appropriately as Andre the Giant. Ever the showman, Vince McMahon Jr.'s promotional ideas included standing Andre on a box for a TV interview.
That's why I'm traveling like this all day long. I just want to make everybody happy.
Indeed, that is your primary goal, to make people happy. There should be more people.
The McMahons called their promotion the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, and Andre the Giant would soon be their most popular export. The world traveler developed sophisticated tastes for fine wine and food. His appetite for all life had to offer exhausted even the most dauntless of his traveling companions.
Like we say in French, he was a bon vivant. When you have dinner with Andre, that was not a half an hour deal, no, and that was a 5-course meal.
The legend that travels Andre around, the food, the drink, he could do this, he could do that. He ate 16 steaks, 12 lobsters, drank a case of beer and 10 bottles of wine, and finished it off with a bottle of Jack Daniels. Well, I'm here to tell you, it's all true.
16
Yet that sort of indulgence was not common for Andre.
He do it more for fun. He had a normal appetite. It was a decent appetite, believe me, a lot more than I could eat. But for his size, it was normal. It was normal as could be.
Less normal was his capacity for
16?
drink. Andre's drinking is the stuff of legend. Most of the stories, the times he drank over 100 beers at a sitting, the occasions on which he imbibed multiple bottles of blended whiskey before dinner, several bottles of wine with dinner, and then cognac for dessert, are hard to substantiate because his drinking partners were seldom conscious at the finish.
It's amazing the amount of capacity that Andre had for beverages. He was a fine connoisseur of wine, but when the good wine wasn't available, Andre would drink any wine or beer. Andre with a beer can in his hand, you didn't know what he was drinking because you couldn't see it. It would be like you holding a thimble. I took his ring and I had a silver dollar, and I passed the silver dollar right through the ring.
Wow.
That's how big his fingers were.
Even when he was drinking, Andre was the designated driver.
When we were partying, it was better not to compete with him or try to keep up with him because his friends would end up sick, whereas he would always end up fine. So when we would go out, he was always the one taking us home. He was like our chauffeur.
He was a lonely man, the only place he could really go and pass the time was in the bar. And maybe that's why he drank a lot sometimes.
He used to tell me sometime, he says, Arnie, I'd like to see a play. I heard so much about these plays and Broadway and stuff. He said, I'd like to go. I said, well, Andre, I'll get some tickets and we'll go. He said, no, Arnie, he said, I can't, I couldn't go to a play. He says, first of all, I can't fit in the seats. And if I was sitting in the seats, I'd be blocking if I could find a seat, I'd be blocking everybody off. And he said, everybody'd be looking at me and gave me. So he really felt bad because he couldn't go see a play.
Andre didn't feel he needed to keep himself in shape. There was no man, or even 3 or 4 men, who could match up to him in a wrestling ring.
Is that Ultimate
He
Warrior?
didn't jog, he didn't run. He bought all that equipment for lifting weight and all that treadmill and never use it. Never got on. Maybe one time and they would sit there, that was it.
Sloppy, he was not. He was exceptionally good in that ring. The way he moved around in that ring, they were amazed.
For the most part, Andre was a gentle giant. He didn't know his own strength, but he took pains not to inflict harm on others.
I would never know of him even hurting a wrestler. He would win the match, but he didn't have to. Crippled him. He'd be the kind of a guy that he would look after the other guy more than himself.
He's picking up grown
Andre's
men.
everyday life required a giant's portion of patience. He couldn't fit into automobiles or movie theater seats. Even a first-class seat in a plane was too small for him. On short hops, when there was no first class, he had to sit on the floor.
All my clothes come from Japan, except my boots. Just like they said, everything is big. It's come from Texas.
Though Andre made light of his inconveniences, he struggled daily with discomfort and indignities.
You just got to be in his shoes for a second to understand what he went through day in, day out. He couldn't hide from anybody. Wherever he went, he was public. People swarmed to him. When he got into a hotel room, the bed was too small. The shower came up to his waistline. His fingers were too big to dial the phone. I mean, the guy went through heck every day. And not once did he ever
shower
complain.
came to his
Sometimes
waistline.
He wasn't
He
private.
couldn't
in his
dial
room
the
because
phone,
people
fingers
would
too
chase
big.
you up
That's
the elevator and
crazy.
find out what room and call your room all night. We used to have to check out a hotel sometimes because it got to be too much. It was incredible to me, the patience that he had.
But even Andre's patience had limits.
One night he was in a bar in Montreal, and these guys come up and they were bothering him, you know, you're big, but you're not strong. And stuff. So Andre said, look, I just come in here to drink. I don't want to, no problems or anything. Well, these guys kept on him. They were, feeling pretty good. Andre couldn't take it any longer. He finally got up, and he went for him. They ran out, and their car was parked on a sidewalk right in front of the place. They jumped in the car and locked it. And Andre ran around to the side of the driver's side, trying to open the door. He couldn't. And so he got so mad, he reached down and grabbed the car, and he turned it upside down on the sidewalk with the 4 guys in it.
Andre was gone by the time the authorities arrived, leaving his 4 drunken victims to explain to skeptical police officers how an angry...
What the hell? So guys pick a bar fight. They run out. They jump in. They lock the door. They think they got away. But here comes Andre the Giant. Flips the car upside down. I done heard of that.
How can you pick a fight with a giant, then run and try to lock the door? Don't you know the giant can flip the car over?
You done woke up a sleeping
They
giant.
didn't believe it.
Here we go, guys. This is so interesting.
Giant had come along and turned their car over. As he approached the age of 30, Andre the Giant transcended his sport.
Andre was really the only wrestler who at that time in the 1970s was booked on a national basis. So when pro wrestling was a regional enterprise, Andre was a national figure, which was totally unheard of in professional wrestling, and actually the forerunner to what pro wrestling is today. In the 70s, it was very unusual for professional wrestlers to get mainstream publicity. Because of his size, Andre became sort of an instant celebrity.
Most people are fascinated with giants. We grow up, reading about Jack and the Beanstalk, and to be able to go see a real live giant who had this effusive personality and who had so much charisma, and to see him in action, it was truly a treat.
Although Andre was very much a man's man, women too were drawn to the Giant.
Andre had lots of girlfriends. Andre had a girlfriend in every town, and when he came back to that town, he could have a different girlfriend.
He had all kinds of women because everybody wanted to be with him, big he
Andre
was.
slinging.
Outstanding for the rest of the crowd, so they wanted to be around him, so they could be seen with him.
He was such a lovable person, and nobody could fall in love with him because he was good to everybody. He didn't dance, of course, except when we were in Hawaii, you'd go and dance sometimes. There was no room on the floor, nobody else. So it's a good thing he didn't do the shake, I'm telling you.
Although Andre kept such personal things to himself, there were, aside from his mother, at least 2 special women in his life.
I remember one time he was in love with a lady. I think that if Andre would have married a woman, it would have been that one there. I don't want to mention any name or anything like that or where she's from, but it was very tough for a woman to have a really close relation with Andre because he was gone all the time. And his life is not like a regular person, you're going to go shopping, you're going to go to your grocery, something like that. It's nightlife, and that's it for Andre.
The other special woman in Andre's life was the daughter he never spoke about.
Andre was a very quiet man in terms of subjects that he didn't want to talk about. And he was a very private man. And if he didn't offer to talk about a certain subject matter, he didn't bring it up.
Andre has a daughter, and I believe she still lives out around the Seattle, Washington area. I'm not sure that she may be even 20 years old today. He certainly cared for her and took care of her, but because of the situation with the mother, she was never able to come to his ranch or come with him on the road, and he really, really wanted that to happen, to get to know her. And
wow,
that didn't
sad.
happen. That hurt him quite a bit.
In the mid-'70s, Andre was much in demand.
But you've been on so many shows, Andre. You've been on the Johnny Carson show so many times.
Merv Griffin.
Merv Griffin.
$6 Million Man.
All of the movies. You've been in so many different.
Bear,
yes.
Great American Zero, The Fall Guy.
By the end of the 70s, Andre the Giant was the most famous wrestler, perhaps the most famous athlete in the world.
Look at those
He was
hands.
well over 400 pounds, and still his body continued to grow.
You're getting your foot off my shoulder.
You can really hurt that guy, Andre. Hold on.
The rigors of professional wrestling, combined with Andre's indulgent lifestyle, were taking their toll on the Giant's health.
Wow.
By 1980, in his mid-30s now, Andre became increasingly aware of his own mortality. The doctors had told him he wouldn't reach 40. Some men would have taken this as a death sentence. Andre took it as a reminder to enjoy the time he had.
When I would ask Andre about the condition that he had, he would just, kind of like a big brother, put it to the side. Don't worry about it, boss. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. But on the other side, I'd hear from doctors and people that I would speak to, and they'd say, he is a miracle. He's amazing. That with the condition he has, that he's a professional wrestler. I think deep down, Andre always knew, like he was tipped, which a lot of us never get a tip like this, that you're not going to be a senior citizen. You have so many days on earth, so use the best of them. Andre was the only man that ever did it.
Just as Andre and professional wrestling were peaking in terms of popularity, Andre's body began to turn on him. Andre broke his ankle, allegedly in a match with Killer Khan, but he actually did it while getting out of bed. The recuperation was long and painful, and there were no crutches long enough or strong enough to support a giant. During the next 2 years, Andre was able to perform some of his best matches, but by 1983, the disease he had ignored for years began to take hold.
When the body physically can't grow anymore, changes start to take place. The body starts to age rapidly. Andre's weight increased to the point that his joints weren't really able to handle the stress of his body weight very, very well. So his look started to physically change. He started to look older, started to move slower.
Still, the Giant refused to modify his schedule or curtail his drinking.
When you live on the road, you have two choices. You can go out and have a good time, or you can sit in your room like it's a cell. And we went out and had a good time. As he got older, that wears down, and there were days when I left him, and I was in tears. His back, his knees, everything was hurting. And I would say to him, boss, is there anything I can do? And he would just tap me on the shoulder and say, don't worry about it, Timber.
Lots of times he said to me, I wish I was your size. And I said, man, I wish I was your size. He said, man, I wish I was small, man, just a regular size man, you know.
Wow.
Because he had to be hard on him. You sit at a table, your knees hitting the edge of the table, you pick up a little fork. I mean, you know, that big hand, there was only a little piece of it sticking out, you know. I mean, it's hard to work with.
In 1986, Andre traveled to England to perform in the movie The Princess Bride. He played a character very close to himself, Fezzik, the Gentle Giant. The movie was very popular, and Andre received praise for his performance.
Andre loved doing the movie. Never really spoke a lot
I want to
about
watch that.
it, but I knew inside that it was one of the great things that he did in his lifetime.
During his time in England, Andre's back pain increased to the point where he decided to undergo surgery to relieve the stress on his back. To facilitate the surgery, an oversized operating table and special tools had to be constructed. Perhaps the most apprehensive participant in the surgery was not Andre, but his anesthesiologist.
How do you sedate a man who's 500 pounds? Jim Troy, who was a friend of Andre, was there when he had the operation. The anesthesiologist would come over and say, well, give me some idea. How much of this should I give him? The only thing they could possibly equate it to was Andre's consumption of alcohol. And Andre said, well, it takes 2 quarts, 2 liters of vodka for me to get a buzz on. And they couldn't believe that, and Jimmy Troy confirmed that'd be about right. Although I've seen it happen with a bottle and a half, But so in essence, that was the trickiest part of the entire operation was the anesthesiologist. You can't give him too much, you kill him.
Right.
If you don't give him enough, he's going to wake up. And that won't be nice to wake up an angry giant when you have his back laid open.
Absolutely.
The operation was termed a success, but to those who observed Andre close up, it provided little, if any, relief for his overburdened frame.
He couldn't bend down. His back was really hurting him all the time, And the only time he was really comfortable was sitting in a big recliner. I would say after he had his surgery in his back, it was never the same, as far as I'm concerned myself.
It's a tough time, but I got to surprise all the wrestling fans. And believe me, I got to have a big surprise for you. I break back all the way, just like I used to compete before.
He weighs 520 pounds.
He's back?
Andre, the Giant.
Promoter Vince McMahon Jr. was counting on Andre's enormous popularity to create excitement for WrestleMania 3, a spectacular wrestling program to be held at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan.
Andre was hurting around the time of WrestleMania 3. He was well past his prime physically. The wrestling business, on the other hand, was just reaching its crescendo. WrestleMania 3, unlike the first 2 WrestleManias, was sold strictly on the strength of the main event. The main event being Hulk Hogan, who was at the time the WWF champion, facing Andre for the title. Andre was billed as being undefeated at that time, so the storyline went, could Hulk Hogan defeat the heretofore unbeatable Andre the Giant? It was the strength of that main event that caused the show to become the biggest wrestling event in the history of the business.
Andre had agreed by pre-arrangement with McMahon to allow Hogan to beat him that night. Still, Hogan was understandably nervous. This, after all, was a giant he was wrestling. What if Andre changed his mind about losing?
Hogan was extremely worried about the outcome of the match. Have you talked with Andre? Have you talked? I said, it'll be just fine. It'll be fine. Hogan couldn't believe what Andre was going to do for him and do for the business. And it was a classic example of giving back. Andre knew that this was a tremendous opportunity, not only to set a record, it probably will never be broken, but to give back to the business, to be the performer that he always was, but to show other wrestlers, this is what you do. You pass that torch, and that's what he did.
92,000 people filled the Silverdome that night to watch Andre battle Hulk Hogan for the championship. WrestleMania 3 set the all-time attendance record for an indoor event, and it still stands. Only months after major back surgery, Andre allowed Hogan to defeat him with a body slam.
Whoa!
Andre the Giant's reign as the biggest attraction in wrestling was over. He passed his 41st birthday well aware that he was living on borrowed time. WrestleMania 3 had been one of the most successful sports events in history, and Andre the Giant was known all over the world. But his success provided little compensation for his pain. The Giant was buckling under his own weight.
After his operation, he went on wrestling for several years. It was hard, of course, because it was difficult to get around, but he always wrestled. He had said he would never stop. He wanted to go until the end.
During the late 80s, Andre appeared in several rematches with Hulk Hogan, but the fans soon caught on to the fact that his skills were greatly diminished. In truth, the once agile giant could scarcely move. Back in the 70s, Andre had purchased a ranch in Ellerbe, North Carolina. Throughout his wrestling career, it provided peace and refuge from the spotlight.
We love it here. We love it here because it was quiet for him. It was a place that he could relax. People didn't bother him. Most of the time we stayed home and ate here. We barbecue outside. He loved the barbecue. And we sit on the deck and drink a few beer and play cards most of the time.
Here, Andre could be himself, free from stares. Only his closest friends were invited to visit him on the ranch. His favorite recreation was riding around on an ATV, checking out the longhorn cattle he raised. Evenings were spent watching TV from his specially constructed recliner or playing cards with Frenchie.
And as soon as he had one day off, he'd come here. Sometimes he was only sleep overnight, and we'd bring him back to the airport. That's the only time he really had peace, you know, and he enjoyed that. My wife would cook him some home-cooked meal, and that's what he liked, you know, quiet, and he would watch that TV all night long and sleep after the day.
By late 1992, Andre's wrestling days were over. His weight swelled to 550 pounds.
Woo!
Every movement required painful effort.
We were sitting at the table one night, and he said, well, Frenchie, if I die, I want to be cremated and put my ashes on the farm. I said, Andre, I will do it, no matter what. He said, that's what I want. I don't want to go nowhere else. I don't want people to see me after I'm dead. If they want to see me now. You know what I'm saying? One of my life.
Yeah.
Friends were worried that Andre was dying, not from the affliction that had shaped his life, but from a broken heart. He missed wrestling that much.
The end was like the way he lived it. He never, ever complained. I had stopped at the ranch. It was just before New Year's. Andre at that time now was on crutches, and his condition had taken over on him. I was in tears because he was hurting so bad. Yet he was so happy that I stopped through that he was telling jokes. And matter of fact, I told him, boss, I'm gonna leave at about 8 tomorrow morning. This is something he never did when we were on the ranch. He goes, what time? And I said, at 8 o'clock. He goes, well, I'm gonna get up. We'll have something for breakfast and then you can go. He never would do that. When I drove away, I knew something was wrong. And it just killed me because he was, you know, he was just the greatest. And it really hurt. That was the last time I saw him.
He was a true friend.
Just after New Year's 1993, Andre got a call to come back to France. His father had passed away. For days after the funeral, Andre hung around in his village playing cards with his old friends. At night, he drove back to Paris to sleep in a hotel. On the night of January 27th, Andre went to sleep and never woke up. His chauffeur found him in the morning. Death was attributed to congestive heart failure from a buildup of fluid in the body. Andre Roussimoff weighed 530 pounds when he died. He was 46 years old.
The last card game I remember is the last one we played together. We were on the same team that day, and the next day, he never woke up. That's what hurts me. I was kind of the last one to play cards with him. He was a very simple person, a person who loved his village, loved the people he was around. He died too quickly. He deserved a better destiny.
As Andre had requested, his body was returned to North Carolina, where it was cremated 2 weeks after his death. More than 200 of Andre's friends attended the funeral held at his home. After a short ceremony, Frenchie rode a horse to spread his friend's ashes on the ranch. Andre the Giant was modern wrestling's first and only international attraction. On his broad shoulders, wrestling rose from its status as a questionable sport to become big business, and some might argue performance art.
Wow.
Andre Roussimoff, the man, was born with an affliction that threatened to physically and socially ostracize him from society. A lesser man might have gone through life a recluse, hidden from the world's mocking eyes. Andre chose to live his life the way he was raised, with pride and dignity and without complaint.
Oh, wow.
He lived every single day like it was last. And I was the luckiest guy in the world. I was with him, so every day was Happy New Year.
Wow.
Andre Roussimoff, the man of immeasurable strength, made his living as a wrestler, but never harmed a living soul in his short, gentle life.
Wow.
He brought pleasure to millions, and the friends that he made were devoted to him.
When you got one true friend like him, that's all you need in this world, a true friend.
Ça restera gravé, je pense, longtemps, de sa gentillesse qu'il avait vis-à-vis d'envers moi.
The kindness that he had towards me, his friends, it is engraved. It will remain engraved, I think, for a while. There are a lot of things. What he did for my parents and everything. He was someone great that nobody can forget. I don't think someone would ever forget him.
Andre Rene Roussimoff lived according to his size, larger than life.
Wow.
Wow.
That was beautiful. That was a beautiful
like
documentary.
That. Yes, it was, my love.
Wow.
The true meaning of a gentle giant.
Yes.
He was really a good guy. that love his family, that love the sport, love life, you know, so.
Absolutely.
So many good things and good qualities about Andre the Giant. Wow.
I mean, goodness gracious. It was so unbelievable that the guys in the bar tried to bully him, run out of the bar, lock the car doors, and Andre goes out there and flips the car with 4 guys in it.
That was
I would have loved to see that. I know that has never happened in history.
I would have loved to see the look on their faces, their reaction to see that car flipping upside down.
I couldn't imagine, like
the screams and the yells that they released. Wow, man, to be a giant like that, man, 550 pounds. The size of his hands. I mean, his head, his feet. Like, everything was just huge.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And to die at the age of 46.
Wow. I mean, he lived way longer than, you know.
What they projected, right.
Yes.
They said at the age 40.
Yes.
And he made it to age 46.
And it seems like he lived a beautiful life. He had a lot of beautiful people around him.
Absolutely.
And he never put his hands on anyone violently.
Right.
He never hurt anyone in his life.
He was a good guy.
People speak very highly of him, and I think that's so beautiful.
He was a good guy. A true giant.
Yeah.
The first giant I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Andre the Giant. Wow. It's amazing, guys. And what he did for the professional sport of wrestling is amazing.
Absolutely.
He was the face.
And he let Hulk beat him.
Right.
We all know that there was no way in the world that Hulk could beat Andre the Giant.
He had to pass the torch, you know. So.
But he passed the torch
right.
with dignity and pride, and he never complained.
And
that's the beautiful values that his parents, you know, instilled in him.
Wow.
So that's amazing.
It's an amazing story. We want to thank you guys for sending over this video. We definitely appreciate it. Go ahead and smash that like button, give this video a big fat thumbs up, and also get inside the comment section.
Absolutely.
I want to read the comments, guys, all right? So make sure you leave a comment. We thank you so very much.
That was amazing.
Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Wow. The people who got in that ring to face him, I take my hat off to you guys.
I mean, I would have been petrified.
I mean, Hulk Hogan.
Hulk was petrified. Like, are you sure? You know, he had to keep asking, like, are you sure he's going to let me do this and not change his mind?
Because I can't beat this guy.
Very dangerous.
But just to see him pick him up and body slam him, it's amazing.
How did Hulk do that?
I don't know how. I'm trying to figure out.
Hulk picked up a giant.
He picked him up and body slammed him.
That was crazy.
Wow. Wow. It's a great
Wait a
sport.
minute. How in the heck was he drinking 100 beers?
100 beers, 16 steaks, 10 bottles of wine.
And whiskey.
And whiskey.
Oh my
And then he'd be the chauffeur. He'd be the one driving everyone home.
Oh my
Making sure everyone get home safe.
That is crazy.
Wow. You know what I'm saying? Wow. It's amazing. That's an amazing story. Wow, guys, we had a blast. That's our time. We got to sign off. But guys, please keep sending over the videos.
Absolutely. This
Very
is my
impressive.
first time hearing about Andre the Giant, by the way.
Yeah, Andre the Giant.
And wow, I'm so happy you guys did
Legendary.
this video. He's
Legendary.
awesome. He deserves to be on this platform.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. It's just so amazing. So amazing.
Yep. That's our time, guys. We got to get up out of here. Peace, love, and blessings to all. We love you guys. Sign it off. Peace.